Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm gonna take you guys along like a full behind the scenes wedding day on what it's like to shoot photo and video for a wedding client. Now, in this video, I have two photographers, one videographer, and myself shooting this entire wedding day. This is just the beginning of the day where we're just trying to set up where the bride's dress to go. This is the Lowepro ProTactic BP 450 AW2. I actually really love this bag because it came with like these little pouches that you can see me putting on my belt. I can actually put lenses inside these pouches so I don't have to go back to my bags. This was like a game changer for me just because I basically have three lenses, one lens on the camera, two lenses on my side. I only have one pouch on my side. As you can see, I'm putting a lens in there. Now you can see that little side handle that I put on there. That's actually from the original Komodo. I'm using that because from a lot of the weddings that I've been shooting on the Z8, I get like a weird memory card heating up problem. So I just attached that handle. As you can see, I'm grabbing it right now. And it allows the memory card to not heat up because I'm not actually grabbing the body. But let's talk about the setup. So the setup here, I'm using the Nikon Z8 with the Shinobi 5-inch monitor with the Seinheiser mic. Now I'm not too sure on the model, but it's the smaller version of the newer one that just came out, I think. Now for the behind the scenes camera, I am using the Insta360 camera for the behind the scenes. Now in this shot here, this is where someone buys the bride. Now I think this is like a Greek tradition or something. As you can see, the bride is coming out with the dad. Earlier in the shot, you see money flying. Now I'm just trying to get an overhead shot here because there's a lot of people in front. Now we're walking backwards on the stairs here. We're showing the dad bringing down the bride. Very big tradition. It's actually a fun tradition, and I loved shooting this wedding because there's just a lot of traditional things happening and you just got to be fast. So now this is just like a big party thing gathering with the bride, the dad out in the front of their house, which is a beautiful house. Now I do have the DJI mic 2 on top of the camera because I had this on there for when the bride was doing the first look with the dad. So I was just able to swap the 3.5mm input from the DJI mic 2 to the Sennheiser. It's faster and easier, so I just keep it on my body. Very fast, go, instead of putting it away. So yeah, this is basically all the party stuff. Now I wasn't able to capture the first look with the mom, dad, and the bride. The Insta360 was dying on me or something like that. I'm not 100% sure what happened there. I'm trying to capture everything behind the scenes. But yeah, so this is all the fun stuff happening. On the right there, we have the wedding coordinator, Vanessa from Dio Events, DIO. Yeah, so this is basically like a fun wedding. I'm gonna take you guys along the behind the scenes, everything that's happening. This is basically the end of when we were done at the bride's house.
I'm gonna go grab my purse.
Is that,
Yeah,
you good?
you're good to go.
Okay.
You just got to the church now.
Perfect. So we got like a good half hour then. 15 minutes here.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
So we're just packing up here, getting ready to head to the ceremony. So this is the ceremony now. This is Frank in front of me, which is my second shooter for video, where he's just going over on the outline of where we're allowed to step in for when we're shooting the church.
Within this brown? Yeah. Okay. So behind?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And behind you, you're like me.
Yeah.
Always the last people.
Yeah, we're the last people, yeah.
To do something,
Yeah.
and we're doing the best job.
Yeah, we're the last one.
Yeah.
We're black sheep.
Yeah. Bingo, you got it.
You like that, huh?
Now here I am setting up the Nikon Z8. I have the top handle or the monitor off. I'm just going strictly just camera and the SYNCO gimbal. And then I also have my red Gemini, which I love shooting weddings with, and you're probably going to think it's overkill. I mean, whatever you think, it is what it is. But I love the quality coming out of this thing. It's a bigger camera, which is why it's on sticks. That is going to be basically like the A camera. And here we are using these SYNCO headphones, which are total game changer. I have my whole crew using these headphones just so I'm able to coordinate who to be where and at what time. Now, I did have trouble setting up these mics, but it was a quick fix and we were good to go. They're quite cool to use and fun, to be honest.
Crickets?
Now, this is Christo. This is the groom. I am just setting up my DJI Mic 2 mic on him. Actually, it's already set up. I'm just turning it on.
I have another card for you.
Okay, tell them to come in, to go in.
He's actually sorry.
Anyone which is not in the wedding party.
So now this is the red Gemini I'm setting up on the new KNF Concept tripod, which I just picked up for this wedding. The current tripod that I was using was garbage. I did need a good tripod. I'll put a link of this tripod in the description below. It's able to hold the Gemini no problem. So I got the Gemini rolling on them constant, and I'm shooting on the Nikon Z8 for gimbal stuff, for movement, just so I'm able to bounce back. And then also my B videographer is shooting on the A7 IV. And then he's also shooting on the A7 III going handheld. So I have like 4 angles to kind of cut from, which makes it a lot easier for the final edit. So the ceremony is almost basically done here, and we're just trying to get, like, you know, when the priest announces them as husband and wife. Can you guys go for a kiss? Yeah. So now this is Vanessa telling me.
No pigeon, no confetti.
So we always have to be on our feet, ready to go with a different type of plan. They were going to do doves releasing after they exit the church, but that is not happening. Instead, we're just doing a basic exit of the church. So I got Ali there as the photographer, Pete as the photographer as well. I have them behind me just getting ready and trying to position them and just position myself as well so I'm able to get my shot. So this is the exit of the ceremony right after they get married. Simple stuff, pulling back on a gimbal. And I got Pete on the right of me, Ali on the left. They're on 2 different focal lengths. I think Ali's on a 50 mil and Pete's on the 24 to 70. We actually almost fell down the stairs there. Okay, so now this is back at the photo shoot at some castle, some cool castle. I'm actually trying to just coordinate with the whole wedding party.
So just up here. Guys, can you just go behind them?
I'm carrying it.
Does she need to carry it?
No, she doesn't.
Okay, just drop it.
Yeah, it's gonna get dirty.
Drop it. Because I want you guys to stay behind them because I just want to get some stuff of them. So you guys are going to...
You gotta follow the wedding party.
You guys are just going to walk around this path and I'll tell you guys when to stop. Yeah, holding hands. And I'll tell you guys when to look at each other and when to look back. Okay.
So here I am trying to coordinate Christo and Mary on just walking, them looking back at the camera, just doing some small, easy gimbal movements of them walking out into the sun. I got Ali on the right shooting photos as well. As you can see on my screen there, we're walking into the bright, so I'm adjusting my variable ND. Now this is all shot in RAW on the Nikon Z8 4.1K in 60 frames. And I shot majority of this in RAW just because I just wanted top-notch quality. And you know, you can get the same quality in an MP4 somewhat. People will say yes. I'm gonna say no. There's a lot more grain in the MP4. In the RAW, there's less grain and it's just a cleaner image. That's just my opinion.
Okay, beautiful.
So I just have them doing some simple stuff, walking out into the sun. I'm just trying to coordinate them, just trying to get some good shots. So now here I am giving Mary her flowers, just trying to do some easy stuff. I also have Frank over here on sticks, as you can see right over there on the right, shooting some static stuff zoomed in. He's on the Tamron, I think it is 35-150 f2.8 or whatever it is. Now at this point we're just basically shooting bride stuff, just Mary and her bridesmaids, and then on the left there I have Pete shooting the guys, Christo and each guy. So I kind of have them spread apart, and I'm just bouncing back and forth shooting some extra footage for me to add in. Now for this film they did not go with the same day edit, but I just prepared myself to shoot for a same day edit, which just means more B-roll, better and faster for me to put the final edit together. I have more footage to bounce back, especially if they're doing more speeches. Now, I chose this area on the side of this castle just because I love the greenery going up on this castle or house or whatever it is.
Looking at me, guys?
I'm shooting, actually these are photos that I'm actually doing on the Meike 85 1.8. As you see, I'm trying to scroll through. I have them trying to position against the flowers over here. Now if you're looking for a cheap 85 mil for your Z series camera, I would recommend the Meike. Actually I got some pros and cons on that Meike 85 1.8, but it is a good cheap lens for, I think it's under like $400. You can't go wrong. So I got Pete there, the second photographer, just trying to help me with the dress situation, shooting some photos here.
Beautiful. The flowers. Okay.
So now I have Christo and Mary walking towards me, looking at each other, holding hands, those typical style, fashion-y style photos, wedding photos. And I also have Frank there on sticks, so he's able to capture video as well. Now there was other stuff that happened here I just wasn't able to capture because the Insta360 battery was dying. But here we are at the reception. I have the Gemini set up as the camera for speeches, and I got the Nikon Z8 back on the Simpeer gimbal as my A cam for walking around. Now this was a tricky scenario because we had sparks coming up. Now you're probably gonna ask, how are you gonna expose? I would expose very dark, so when the sparks come up, those are gonna light up everything. You wanna underexpose in this situation or use a variable ND, so then you're able to adjust. The best and easy fast situation to shoot this is use a variable ND, so when the sparks go up, you just turn your variable ND until it matches the brightness of those sparks. I actually enjoyed shooting this because I just thought it was super cool. Like, they're not like your typical sparklers. They're constant and they last a long time. So if you have wrong settings, you're always going to be able to fix those settings if you're using a variable ND. I had Ali shooting on a flash and then Pete shooting without flash, just so I have two different types of shots to work with. I liked without the flash just because I had the sparklers exposing or brightening everything up in the image. So now after they entered, which was a long entrance, we have them cutting the cake, you know, which every wedding's different. You can go right into cutting the cake or you can cut the cake after. And they actually did their dance as one of the last dances instead of doing their dance when they walk in to the entrance. Every tradition is different. Every wedding's going to be different. So, you know, whatever it is, what it is. I don't mind going right into the cake because we can get that part done instead of waiting for it to the end. but it doesn't even matter as long as we're there to capture it and we have it on footage and video. Now this party lasted, I would say, a good hour when they entered into the hall. It was a long experience. I've never experienced a party like this before. It was fun. Like I said, it was long and there was just a lot of stuff for us to capture. We have the bride and groom going back in the middle, and I'm just trying to shoot overhead above everybody. So now here I am switching back to handheld just because I want to be able to go back and forth from gimbal to handheld, try to keep it a little different instead of always stable footage. I'd find, you know, if you're shooting everything on a gimbal, things can get boring. So now here we are jumping into the first dance with the mom, Christo and his mom. As you can see, we have the sparkler set up, but it's not for them. Okay, so now we are jumping into the bride and groom's first dance. As I mentioned, I was adjusting my variable ND for the sparkler stuff. I just remembered that I didn't have the proper thread size for my lens, so I was just adjusting my shutter. Now you can adjust your aperture, but then you might see the difference in the blurriness of the background as you move around the subject. So I'm just adjusting my shutter, which, you know, a lot of people are going to say that's not the proper way of doing it, but in this situation, it's the only thing that I was able to do to maintain exposure. I could have adjusted my aperture, but I wanted to keep that depth of field as I was moving in. Actually, I just remembered my ISO is ISO 2000, which is under the second base ISO. Good thing about the Nikon Z8 camera is that you're not going to get like a crazy amount of grain like most cameras where you have the only ability to use the dual native ISO. On the Nikon Z8, I feel like you have a variety of ISOs to choose from, and you're not going to see a huge difference in graininess in the image when you're not at those dual base ISOs, which is why I ended up switching from the Nikon Z8 to the Sony FX3. I just found that I was either stuck at an ISO 800 or an ISO 12800 on the FX3 because those are the dual native. If you are below or higher, your image is going to be super grainy, and on the Nikon Z8 I don't find that at all. Now this is just my experience. I'm not saying it's garbage and it's not right. It's just what I experience when I'm shooting weddings, and you know, I love shooting on the Nikon Z8, especially for weddings, and it's a very great camera if you are starting off in the wedding industry. Now the autofocus is a little different from the Sony cameras, but it works and I have no problems with it whatsoever. Now I'm going to talk about on how I record speeches in my wedding films and why I just feel like it's the most fast and efficient ways to go about filming wedding speeches. So that is why I actually ended up bringing the Red Geminis to have this camera set up on tripod. It is big, it is hard to move around doing handheld stuff if you do have a big V-mount battery attached, which I do. I got the 270 watt shape battery. And the reason why I have this big battery on the Red Gemini is just because I don't have to keep swapping batteries, and this camera is meant to be on the tripod. And that's why I ended up using this camera for speeches. Speeches are more of a static type of thing. So the Red Gemini is recording the speeches with the DJI Mic 2 going directly into the Gemini. If you're not familiar, the Red Gemini has great preamps, so the quality coming out of this camera is great. I'm going to show a sample of what the audio sounds like coming straight from the camera.
To have turned out to one day be my husband. Standing here today, I am thrilled to say that I've married the most amazing, kind-hearted, respectful.
Now, one thing I also came across that was a little difficult was the reception did not want to use, or the DJ didn't want to use, the in-house mic holder. As you can see in the video, it's kind of bent over. It looks a little messy, which I would not recommend doing this. I actually had to put the DJI Mic 2 attached to the actual microphone that Mary is holding. As you can see, the green light hidden behind the microphone. I went up to Mary and told her just to turn the mic around so we didn't see the DJI Mic 2 light on, because it looks kind of distracting to me. But I had to just go with the fast and efficient way of recording audio. I could have went directly into the DJ booth, but I didn't have time to set that up. So in this case, this is why I think the DJI Mic 2 mics are great. They're easy to just put on to things that can use with that magnetic clip. And that's exactly what I did here with the microphone. It worked. The audio sounds great. And that's why I just feel like having two cameras with you at all times is going to save you some time and be the most efficient wedding videographer. So that's it for the behind the scenes wedding film for photo and video on a full day using the Nikon Z8. If you guys are interested in seeing more content like this, let me know in the description below. I'll post all the links of products that I used, that I shot this wedding film with, including the mics, tripods, and everything. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or are interested in shooting your first wedding film, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them.